All right, everybody. I'm Logan Alec. I'm a CPA, and this is my news and stimulus update for Monday, November 9th. The stock market is soaring right now. Why? Two things. First is the election, and the second is COVID-19 vaccine hopes. First, why does the stock market like the election results? And when I say stock market, just think huge companies. Why do huge companies like the election results? Because there are things the market likes about Joe Biden. Namely, it views him as a more stable, predictable presidential figure who will likely take a more standard, predictable approach to things like, say, foreign policy than Donald Trump did, and the things that the market might be afraid of with the Biden presidency, namely higher corporate tax rates and potentially those more extreme measures that some Democrats have talked about, like increasing the number of Supreme Court justices, packing the court, if you will, and ending the filibuster, which of course would only work to Democrats' advantage if they actually win both of those Georgia Senate races. Those more scary things, at least scary to big companies, aren't going to happen in the Senate. There was no massive blue wave in the Senate. In fact, it looks to me at this point that Republicans will win at least one of those Georgia runoffs in January. Of course, anything can happen between now and then. But even if they don't, we have a split Senate with Kamala Harris casting the tie-breaking vote. There's no Democratic supermajority here. They're going to have to work with Republicans. Another thing that's got the market excited this morning is a 2-dose vaccine initiated by German company BioNTech SE and now in partnership with American pharmaceutical company Pfizer. This vaccine has shown better results than expected at protecting individuals from COVID-19. So according to preliminary results from the clinical trial, so basically if we go to the New York Times coronavirus vaccine tracker that I talked about in my video on COVID-19, the economy, they're right here. They are in late stage phase 3 trials. Just real quick, vaccines are generally first tested on animals, so I guess that would kind of be over here. And based on those results, they can go to phase 1. In phase 1, they test on a small group, mostly focusing on this point on, is the medication safe? Effectiveness is not the top concern in phase 1, it's primarily safety. Then during phases 2 and 3, they start testing on more and more people, especially in phase 3, and they look for side effects, results in different groups, because, now they have more data based on the larger size of these trials, right? And then if the phase 3 results are promising, as this Pfizer vaccine was, I'll tell you just how promising it seems to be in a bit, then it moves on to approval by the Food and Drug Administration for limited release, or whatever is the administration in that particular country. Now, you might look over here and say, okay, well, there are currently 6 vaccines approved for early or limited use. Big whoop about this Pfizer vaccine. Well, keep in mind that these 6 vaccines here are mostly vaccines approved by the governments in Russia or China, and there are concerns that these vaccines and their approvals moved too fast and ignored some safety issues. So what's the deal with this new Pfizer vaccine? Pfizer is claiming that the vaccine was more than 90% effective in preventing COVID-19 among volunteers who had not had COVID-19 previously. So the market as a whole is up right now, but especially companies whose fortunes particularly rise and fall with the travel industry, such as hotels, airlines, etc. Pfizer said that it will ask the Food and Drug Administration for emergency authorization of the vaccine to later this month start distributing and selling it after they have collected further safety testing data. Pfizer hopes that by the end of next month, by the end of 2020, it will have produced enough of the vaccine to immunize 15 to 20 million people. Pfizer executives, who will obviously probably err on the side of optimism, with their public statements at least, are calling this vaccine a historical moment. One of them said that they have come up with a COVID-19. Those are the words she used. We have come up with a COVID-19 vaccine within a year. That's a pretty bold statement. Now, keep in mind that any testing that has been done so far is pretty short term, right? Okay, so they saw 90% protection in these tests that lasted a few months. Well, we don't have any data yet on whether the vaccine's protection lasts much longer than that. Also, keep in mind that all this excitement about this vaccine is from a news release put out by Pfizer itself, not a peer-reviewed medical journal. And there are still things we don't know at this point. Okay, for example, if it is 90% effective, right, that means that some people did get COVID-19 while on the vaccine. Did they get super severe forms of COVID-19? Or were their COVID-19 symptoms somewhat diminished as a result of taking the vaccine? We don't know. How about people who have already contracted COVID-19 previously? Is this vaccine effective for them? We don't know. They didn't speak to that. Nevertheless, that 90% figure is stunning, if true, even to third-party scientists not affiliated with Pfizer. Various immunologists at Yale University said that the 90% figure would obviously be a higher effectiveness rate than the seasonal flu vaccine. Another said that she was expecting the reported effectiveness to be something like 55%, not the 90% that Pfizer is reporting. So it's promising. It's not final yet, but it's promising. Now, briefly on the stimulus, I know that many of you thought that Nancy Pelosi should have taken the White House deal, $1.9 trillion, get that passed in the House, and then send that sucker to the Senate to die, so that Republican senators could have taken the fall and blame for that not getting passed before the election. Pelosi did not adopt that strategy, and as a result of that, among other things, now she's lost House seats while still maintaining the majority. And even now, even after the election, Pelosi is sticking to her guns and not wanting to entertain anything much smaller than what she has entertained previously. However, Democratic Representative Ro Khanna, who along with Tim Ryan put together that Emergency Money for the People Act, remember that $2,000 a month stimulus proposal that was very popular on YouTube over the spring and summer, he came out and said that it's going to be a challenge negotiating with McConnell, especially now that Trump is not incentivized electorally to do anything. But nevertheless, we have to figure out now what's the best we can get. That's what Ro Khanna said. It's interesting, because we know that Ro Khanna urged Nancy Pelosi to take Mnuchin's later proposals, one at $1.8 trillion, the other at $1.9 trillion. But what if all Dems can get right now during the lame duck is a skinny deal? Would Ro Khanna and other rank-and-file Dems throw their support behind something like that? I don't know. But even so, even if you do have Democrats like Ro Khanna lowering their bar significantly and supporting a skinny bill, would Nancy Pelosi? From what she said after the election, no. She basically said it's not something she would entertain. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut said that he's worried that Donald Trump is going to be in a personal and political meltdown after he realizes that he has lost the election. He's worried that Trump will be the obstacle in the lame duck, even if Mitch McConnell wants to do something. Frankly, I'm not so much concerned that Trump and the lame duck White House will be an obstacle as much as they will simply be a non-factor. We might see a scenario where they say, okay, Mitch, you deal with Pelosi, we're done here. And Mitch goes and puts on the Senate floor another going nowhere skinny bill, right? Another Democratic Senator, Joe Manchin of West Virginia, was a bit more bipartisan in his thinking. He thinks that he should be looking at a very practical path forward. And according to this Democratic senator, that practical path is not $2 trillion or more. However, on the other end of the spectrum, progressive Democratic Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, whose father passed away from COVID-19, said that she doesn't think we should shortcut the American people and that she supports Nancy Pelosi's hill to die on of providing more aid to state and local governments, which is a large Republican criticism. So lame duck stimulus drama continues. The Senate is back in session today. We're going to track it right here on the channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.